Hi, thank you very much for the opportunity to comment on this video. I think it raises some interesting issues that are very easily put to rest. I want to raise a couple of concepts too. It's mentioned that we read these things with preconceived notions. Almost impossible not to bring our own preconceived notions, our own pre-existing knowledge into the text to interpret it. I would suggest that anyone who says that they don't do that is probably most guilty of that. And so indeed, we do have preconceived notions. What are those notions based on? Are they based on man's fallible opinions? Are they based on so-called science? Are they based on things that we think that we know, but actually are unproven or unfounded? Well, this is interesting because Church Bandit is criticizing the text and he's going directly to the text. So obviously the text is of value to him. Let's just stick with the text. That's a good way to go. What we have here, one concept is parsimony. Parsimony is when you dissect something into several smaller parts and then you let those parts tell you something about the whole. Parsimonious is generally an insult hurled at people who take those little parts and allow them to say something that the whole never said. For example, suggesting that the word Adam in the book of Genesis refers to mankind and not a particular man, Adam, flies in the face of the whole of Scripture, which is very clear in numerous references to Adam. For example, you would never say that mankind biblically knew his wife Eve and they had sons and daughters. You would never say that mankind took a bite of an apple, for example, or a fruit, actually, is what it says in the Scripture. And I can go to many examples of that which show that, in fact, as suggested by Church Bandit, doesn't do any damage to our understanding of Adam as also in Hebrew actually relates to a root which refers to the earth. Adam, it means earth, or the dirt, in fact, which is an interesting reference to the creation of Adam from the dust of the ground. I also note that Adam is not inspired with this spirit of life as an infant, nor is he brought about by any long processes that could easily have been described, albeit in summary form, in the Scripture. They're not. Adam is made alive by God. The second reference I would go to is the nephesh creatures, creatures which breathe air or have a soul. There's a great logic leap in Church Bandit's little diatribe where he says that soul means man. It doesn't. Animals have souls. Animals will never go to hell, but they are not created in God's image, and so they're not disobedient to God. In other words, they have no choice in matters where God has spoken. Man has a triune spirit. The fact that he's made in the image of God teaches us something about the nature of man. Man is both a body and a soul and a spirit. Soul and spirit are very different. Animals have souls. You all know it. The soul is the seat of the emotion, the personality, and those things which make us individual. That's your soul. An animal has a soul. Your dog or cat has a unique personality, and that's their soul. To suggest that that means that man is lumped in with other creatures, mammalia, etc., it doesn't stand any sort of a scrutiny test. The bottom line is man is unique from all the animals according to Scripture. If we're going to take Scripture as definitive, man is not an animal. In fact, man is above the animals and has specifically been given dominion. A couple other obvious criticisms that I would make of the line of thinking in this first video I've looked at would be that if man is evolved according to the interpretation that the Church Bandit brings, then what are we to make of all these uses of the words yom for day, where in the evening and the morning were the first day, and the evening and the morning were the second day, third day? These are all very specific, and later in Scripture we have many references back to a creation which took 6 days, and then God rested on the seventh. I would also offer this for thought. Why do we have a 7-day week? Every other calendar period corresponds to some astronomical movement, like, for example, months are lunar and years are solar. What's a week? I think it relates to the first week, which is about 6,000 years ago, when God took 6 days to create everything, exactly as he said. If he's all-powerful and all-knowing and able to communicate, why would he make it less than perfectly clear to us? I think it is perfectly clear in the text.